We upped the gore ante on November Sun because I felt it was something that, had been made to me from fans of October Moon. They wanted a little more splatter in the movie. We had a nice, gory, finale to October Moon, but I wanted more corpse effects. I wanted more slit wrists and bashes in heads, and I wanted to bring that horror film element into it a little stronger for November Sun. So we brought on a wonderful makeup effects artist named Jamie Bilkey. Sean Michael Lambrecht, who plays Corin, and Jared Howard both, we kind of brought back with corpse effects, and that looked fantastic, but didn't come out of their hair. So Sean literally walked around for 3 days with the lining of the latex in his hair. And it wasn't until he went into a sauna that it finally melted out. So I think it's just a little more effects heavy, and my makeup crew did a really good job on that. We had kind of wrapped out our actor, A.J. Anderson, who's credited as Ashley J. Anderson. He plays the character of Red. And while he was home in Green Bay, he was attacked in a parking lot. Violently. He had his jaw broken, gashed. It was a really horrific situation. He and a couple of friends, and he had to have his jaw wired shut, and they really did a number on him. After the shock of that subsided, I suddenly realized that the scene that I had left to film with AJ was an attack sequence in a parking lot. We did the scene with all of his gore effects, the gashes and the blood and everything that he needed. And then when we were done, he showed me a picture that he had taken of himself after the real attack, and it was almost identical. Unintentionally, we had completely mimicked the exact same scars on him. I think it may have been a very cathartic thing, yeah, indeed, for him. The pond sequence initially started out as a graveyard sequence. We had a coffin built, and we were going to dig a grave in the ground, and we were going to go to a cemetery and kind of get all the wide shots to show that we were in a cemetery, but we were actually going to physically build a grave. The day of the shoot, we still haven't dug the hole, and I look at the set that's been built for this grave, and it's just awful. We'd built a pool because it was supposed to be raining out, and the grave was filling up with water, and we were going to submerge the coffin in that pool, and then we had like this backdrop, like she was down in the grave. It didn't work. I got my first look at the coffin itself, and it was fantastic. It was beautifully done. It perfectly matched Corin's coffin from an earlier funeral sequence in the film. And I kind of looked over at the same time to the pond that we were shooting near, and I was like, it's this murky, just skanky pond with a rotting pier, and it just came to me. And literally in 90 seconds, I grabbed my cinematographer, Jason Satterfield, and I said, new sequence, this is what we're going to do. And did it, and we shot it. We're just about to put Brink in the water, and the owner of the property pulls me aside and says, just so you know, there's snapping turtles in there. And I'm like, yeah, we're not going to tell Brink about that. So she's already having to submerge herself in this anyways. And I thought, telling her that there's snapping turtles in the pond probably isn't going to go over too well, so we're just going to let her do the scene and just not mention it. We shot it in like 2 or 3 hours. We had to deal with the sun going down, and it turned out to be one of my favorite pieces. Post-production on November Sun. Made me want to stop being a filmmaker. We had some bad audio in a bunch of scenes due to wind. We just were filming it. God just didn't want me to make this movie. We had edit problems with shots. We had to go back and we had to reshoot scenes. Again, we had the sound problems. Then the music took a really long time to get everything put into place. Ultimately, I'm thrilled to death. It's a fantastic edit now. Fantastic sound by Maui Holcomb. Dennis Peterson did the edit, and Jamie Sewell did all of the music, which is so phenomenal, especially compared to the first film. We had this screening in Chicago in July of '07, and it was a complete disaster. 10 minutes in, I start seeing people doing this. Wincing, grunting, making comments to each other. And at one point, a gentleman, probably in his 50s, early 60s, is just like, oh, this is just disgusting. Because there's gay people on screen and they're kissing and, talking about gay relationships and gay. And he obviously didn't approve, and up he went and stormed out and made it very clear that he was not happy. We started off with 60 people in the audience. We ended up with about 25. Very humbling, very humiliating experience. And the 25 people that remained in the theater, who had been very excited prior to the screening, barely looked at me on the way out the door. So I took the experience and went back to Dennis Peterson, and we edited out 20 minutes of the extreme gay. Went back, I regrouped Tina Poxtelis and Jared Howard and Jason Satterfield, and we went and I wrote 5 new scenes, and we went to this little dingy motel that really wasn't even a motel anymore on the freeway, and shot a bunch of scenes to kind of just amp up the ick factor and put some scares in there, and it only helped. That Chicago show, as bad as it was for my ego, was the best thing that could have happened, because now the movie is much tighter, it's much scarier, and much more involving, I think, than the original cut was. I want to get as much skin in the movie as possible, because now we don't have the nude scene with Walter, so I'm like, damn it, we need more skin. So we kind of sprawl Sasha on the floor, and he's doing his sit-ups, and we squirted him so he looks like he's all sweaty. And as we're filming, he's doing crunches, and his feet keep coming up right into the camera lens. And Jason Satterfield and I are sitting behind the camera just laughing, trying not to laugh hysterically, because it's like this foot fetish video coming right at you. And Sasha kind of got wind of why we were laughing so hard, so he did this little performance for us on camera. And I thought, you know what, damn it, this is going on the extra, and all the people out there with foot fetishes are going to buy this movie now because of Sasha Sackler wiggling his toes in the camera lens. Will there be an October Moon 3? I'll have to decide if I'm going to put a gun to my head first. There is a story in my head. October Moon was always intended to be a trilogy. It would bring all the characters back. We have a big reveal in November Sun that will roll over into an October Moon 3. I think I kind of need to step away from the October Moon November Sun fold for a little bit and do some other stuff. That said, I would probably do an October Moon 3 someday. We'll carry it on. We'll bring everybody back that wants to come back, and hopefully the fans will be wanting to see it.